Shalom. All praises, glory and honor is due to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops, Salakia, elder bishops, elders, and teachers of Great Millstone, and the like-minded men who may not be directly part of Great Millstone, but are following the same doctrine of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, given to the apostles Tahar on down, Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ramlab, Apostle Rakar, and Apostle Ramlab. Salutations to the elect men, women, and children by After Wadah, who are predestined to be saved in these last days. So today, Lord's will, I'll go into will be just a quick lesson on the decay of this wicked system. Today it's going to focus on just the UK. Obviously, you know, the fall of Esau Edom is happening all around the world, but we mainly focus on Babylon the Great, which is America. Yeah, that whole ride of the beast being NATO and the EU. But that's for another lesson, another time. So let's go into this quick scripture. Prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord. Yeah, so everything is of the Lord, whether it's, you know, bad times, good times, death, 68 and 20, issues from death, Isaiah 45 and 7, 1 Samuel 2, 6 on down. Yeah, all explains that everything is of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Yeah, nothing else. Alright. We're going to the next. Ecclesiastes, also known as the Book of Sirach. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And what we're seeing is the decay of Esau Edom's world. For Esau is the end. I'm going to get that actually. 1 second. Again, 2nd Esdras 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. But I'm going to start at 7. 2nd Esdras 6 and 7. For those that don't know who Esau is, it's the so-called white man who classed themselves that as since the times of, I think, 1681 in Virginia. Yeah, that was the first time in legislation that name was used to classify a people. Yeah, so there's no white people and there's no black people. The other nations of Edom and Yasharallah, and 18, basically altogether 18 other nations. Yeah, that Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai determined. Yeah, from the beginning. So all these false constructs of names, of colours, and just don't apply. Simple as that. And this, you know, this is the face of the covering crest being Isaiah 25 and 7 being lifted up by Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Yeah, because these lies have been perpetrated of colour all around the world, and now we're seeing this being dismantled little by little. So back to the scriptures. 2nd Esdras 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, this is Esdras to Uriel, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Yeah. That basically means the end of this rulership, this wicked rulership, end of the heathens ruling. And continue. 2nd Esdras 6 and 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. We can read that in Genesis 25th chapter. For Esau is the end of the world, the end of an age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And what we're seeing is, in many ways, you know, Matthew 24 again comes to mind, 2nd Esdras 24, 6 to 8, 2nd Esdras the 9th chapter comes to mind. Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai is visiting this earth with tempests, with so-called adverse weather conditions. Yeah, he controls it all. with pestilences, uproars of the people, the love of many waxing cold. Judgment goes out every single day, you know, and we can see it intensifying. You know, the prophecies are coming up. We've got the MOTB being spoke about more and more. Eventually that will be a commonplace thing, and then eventually that will be made mandatory. Yeah, we've got rumours of wars and rumours of wars. Don't even need to go into that. Everybody should know about that. Yeah, just for an example, you've got China-Taiwan issue, you got Ukraine-Russia issue, you know. So we're seeing the beginning end of this man's world. Yeah. Psalms 2 comes to mind. China thinks they're going to come next. It's not going to happen. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The next rulership on this earth is going to be Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, is King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Yahweh Shai, King David on the throne on 144,000 mighty men, judges of the earth, with the 12 within that. Yeah, and the elect of Israel, basically, but 144,000 judging, and the elect, yeah, the first fruits. That's what's going to be, that's the next kingdom on this earth. So the reason why I brought these out is because I was watching a video on yesterday, actually. It was on Sky about the cost of living and how people are struggling. And as we know, the so-called elites are bringing the system down bit by bit, but they're doing the Lord's work. They're doing Yahweh Bashem Yahshai's work. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to play this video and then get a few scriptures, and Lord's will add on Radza, end it there. So I'm going to play this video.
But Gemma Godfrey to break it all down for us. Hello again to you, Gemma. Now, it's not sounding great already for so many businesses. Insolvencies, liquidations, what are we talking about here, and just how significant is it?
Well, the breaking news was talking about insolvent companies, which are companies that can't afford to pay back the money they owe. But we also have companies that are liquidating, which are already selling off their assets to be able to pay back these debts that they owe. And if we look at this chart, which actually combines those two numbers, what we can see there is, if you go all the way over there, is actually there are more companies that are shutting down their operations than we saw at the peak of the financial crisis. This is how serious it is. We actually saw it basically during COVID, when the government came out and gave companies a bit of financial support, it temporarily went down, but we're seeing it all feed through now. And if we look at what's causing that, it's unsurprising that it's being caused by energy bills. So what this shows is that businesses that are still operating are expecting that when they go to fix their energy costs again, they're going to be seeing an increase in their electricity bills by either 2 times, 4 times, and this is 50% of companies, and another quarter of companies think they're going to see a 4-fold increase in their energy costs, which means that there's likely to be more companies going insolvent and bankrupt, which means that we could potentially see job losses. And in how it's going to impact us.
So yeah, I'm going to play the video, continue it, Lord's will, again, but I'm just going to get a few scriptures. So my equipment's mashing up on me, but anyway, we'll continue the work. Where are we going to go? Slovakia. So she's talking about job losses there, and scriptures speak on that, you know. Ecclesiastes 12 and 3. Right. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, the keepers meaning the elites, the so-called elites of Esau, Edom, and the nations that are ruling. Right. They're scared. They're scared because they see what's coming. You know, the devil's going to come down on great wrath because he knows that he have but a short time. Revelation 12 and 12, they see what's coming. They see their system as being, they see their rulership is coming to an end, but the demons think they are going to rise out of the ashes like the phoenix after they go into the bunkers. But again, that's another lesson, so I'll continue with this. Shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. Yeah. because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. So the grinders are the people that go to work. Yeah, basically, like the woman says in the video, that people are going to be losing jobs. It's as simple as that. Yeah, and people are going to be fearful. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. I mean, basically, a lot of workplaces are going to go out of business. And ye shall rise up to the voice of the bird. So people are going to be getting up in the morning. Yeah, and the daughter of music shall be brought low. So, I mean, we know music's low, but when people are getting up in the morning, they're not going to be able to find work. I'll read it in the NLT. Remember him before the door of life, before the door to life's opportunities is closed, and the sound of work fades. That's where we're at. The sound of work is fading. Now you rise up the first chirping of the birds, but then all their sounds will grow faint. Let me go into this word grinding to get clarification on what it means.
Strong's H2913. Tachana. Tachana.
So, you know, the word goes takana, he says. Outline of biblical usage, a mill. And what happens at a mill? The wheat gets grounded into flour. And that's a form of work, you see. A hand mill, grinding, right? Strong's definitions, takana, from H2912, a hand mill. You know, so basically the workers and the work is going to be scarce soon, I should say. Yeah, scarce. That's what's going to be happening. And these people are reporting on it. The prophets and from Apostle Tahar on down have been reporting these things for decades. I mean, I've only known the truth for a few years. And I've seen massive change, so, you know, I know the words of Yahweh Shemi Shai do not return unto him void, Isaiah 55:11. And he's not a man, he should lie, yeah? So everything's coming to pass in its time. I think, 19th chapter. I'm going to get straight to the point in here. Isaiah 19, and actually, yeah, start at 8. The fishers also shall mourn. This is in the KJV. I'm also going to read it in the NLT. The fishers also shall mourn, and all they that cast angle into the brooks shall lament, and they that spread nets upon the waters shall languish. There's not going to be no fish. I'm going to read it in basically people. There's going to be no work in a sense, yeah. Right, and there's going to be lack of work. This fisherman's just an example, but it's across all fields, yeah. Isaiah 19:8 in the NLT. The fishermen will lament, be sorrowful for lack of work. Those who cast hooks into the Nile will groan, and those who use nets will lose heart. So basically, there's going to be no work, yeah, eventually, in time, which will cause 2nd Esdras 15, Jacob's trouble. Because when people have nothing to lose, they lose it, and especially when they've got no food, they're definitely going to lose it. So, you know, in this NLT version, it says Egypt and Nile. But as we know, Revelation 11:8 clearly defines the U.S., which is Babylon the Great whore, and Esau Edom's rulership is the spiritual Sodom and Egypt. Yeah, so I'm going to have to clarify that. So specifically the Babylon the Great in the US and its ways that has spread its tentacles throughout the world, its democracy and its philosophies and its wine, not metaphoric wine, is spread throughout the world. And so Revelation 11 and 8 specifically clearly says that it is a spiritual Sodom and Egypt. Yeah. So Isaiah 19 and 9. Moreover, they that work in fine flax and they that weave network shall be confounded. Yeah, there will be no flax for the harvest, no thread for the weavers. So basically, the work is just going to dry up. Yeah. Wow, look at that. Warm spaces hoping to help people. Let me just get that actually. This is how bad it is. Can they get that? That's the spirit, that's what we're talking about here. Oh, come on. Breaking news, there we go. Didn't plan on that, but that's the spirit. Warm spaces to help people struggling with energy bills this winter. Public buildings and spaces across the country, this is UK, will be converted into warm spaces this winter to help those struggling to heat their homes as the cost of living crisis bites. Yeah, gets worse. The scheme comes amid concerns households were forced to choose between heating and eating this winter after the energy price cap rose by 80%. Alright. So that's the spirit, man. Esau's being brought low, man. Definitely. Let's finish off this video and then
immediately, if we look at the red areas here, is that this shows us that over half of the companies actually haven't yet passed on the cost to consumers. And in particular, where we're going to feel this is in arts and entertainment. So things like cinema tickets will be going up in price, or theatre tickets as well.
And that leads me on to my next question, which is, how is this going to impact consumers? Prices have increased already. And is this going to get a whole lot worse?
Absolutely. And the challenge is that we've seen certain price increases for consumers, but a lot of businesses haven't wanted to pass on prices. Because if we look at the next chart, what this shows us is the difference between the money we're spending and the value we're getting. So the red line shows us the money we're spending. The blue line shows the amount that we're buying for that amount that we're spending. And what you can see is for the first time since COVID, since the pandemic, we're now spending more money and getting less value for it. And what's most concerned, if you look at the blue line, is it's starting to dip down into negative territory below the 100 line, which means that we're actually starting to buy less. And that will obviously feed back into companies, selling less goods, which will mean that more of them will be going insolvent. And where we are actually holding back on where we're spending is we're still spending on essential goods.
So I'm going to get a few scriptures here. Oh, wow. I'm going to go straight to Isaiah 24 and 4. I'm going to read it in the NLT straightforward. The earth mourns and dries up. Earth mourns and dries up, and the crops waste away and wither. Even the greatest people on earth waste away, and this is what's happening. Yeah, they ain't the greatest people; they're the basest of men. But the haughty people, as it says in the KJV, the prideful people, yeah, they're finished. Which is Esau, Edom. Yeah, Obadiah. I think it's the third verse. The pride of thy hearts have deceived them. Yeah, I think they are the Most High, and the inward thought is that the houses shall continue forever. Psalms 49 and 11, and it ain't gonna happen. Yeah, Yahweh Shemir Shai is bringing them down. All right, because I'm gonna read a chapter. Verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. They've done that in so many different ways. Yeah. They don't do the Lamb Sabbath, just for instance. Yeah. All they think about is profit, 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 profit. If it's a profit, they'll do it. Fracking, taking the oil out of all the everywhere in the world, and by definition destroying the world by oil spills. Yeah, the plastics in the oceans, everything, man, everything. These people are not fit to rule. So I'm gonna go to James 5. I think I made the point. I'm going to read it actually in the NLT because it's nice and straightforward. I read KJV is always good, you know, it's our go-to scripture, translation. But I'm going to read this in the NLT. James 5:1. Look here, you rich people, weep and groan with anguish because of all the terrible troubles ahead of you. Your wealth is rotting away, and your fine clothes are moth-eaten rags. Wow. Your gold and silver have become worthless. And how did they obtain it? They obtained riches by deceit. And this is why it's been translated from one people to another. I read that Sirach 10:8, Ecclesiastes 10:8. The very wealth you were counting on will eat away your flesh like fire. That's when the nukes. This treasure you have accumulated will stand as evidence against you on the day of judgment. Wow. For listen here, the cries of the field workers, whom you have cheated of their pay. As the scriptures say, we should be getting paid every day. Over here in the UK, we get paid every month, usually, or every 2 weeks, which is just ridiculous. Yeah, it's totally, again, totally against the scriptures. The wages you held back cry against you. The cries of those who harvest your fields reach the ears of the Lord of heaven, the Lord of Sabaoth. Yeah, the Lord of armies. Wow. You know what? I'm going to leave it there. No, I found one more, Salakia. one more. It's just, yeah, it's needed. You have spent your years on earth in luxury, satisfying your every desire. You have fattened yourselves for the day of slaughter. And with that, Adonai, this was edifying to the elect. We've seen these people go down for the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Sirach 25:7 comes to mind. Read that, get that up if you need to, if you don't know what it is, you know. The fall of our enemies. We've seen the fall of our enemies. With that, Adonai again, I'll say, Kol Halo Yahweh Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations and peace to the elect by after with our house of David, men, women, and children who are predestined to be saved in these days. Kwam Yasharella and Abad Babal. Shalom.